Do you want to make a good quality Minecraft TikTok or YouTube short? Well, don't record it on your phone like I'm doing now. Instead, watch this video and I'll teach you how to make a good quality Minecraft TikTok or YouTube short like you're seeing on screen now. Let's do this.
Hey guys, I'm Dr. Cube, and today, like I said, I'm going to be teaching you how to make a good Minecraft YouTube short or TikTok video. Now before I start, I'd like to say that this is the first time I'm making a video like this, so if you enjoy or find it helpful, let me know, and consider hitting that subscribe button because I'd love to teach you guys more about how to make high quality content completely for free. Also, remember, if you have any questions about this, leave it in the comment section below and I'll answer it as soon as possible. That out of the way though, today we will be working in the editing software DaVinci Resolve. It's completely free, however it does require a fairly good device, but it's the best free video editor out there and I highly recommend checking it out. However, this isn't a tutorial teaching how to install it or use it though, so if you're unfamiliar with it, I'd recommend watching another video on it. There's heaps on YouTube, just search for it. Unfortunately, there's none on my channel yet, but with that said, if you've just installed DaVinci Resolve and have no idea how to use it, I'm going to walk you through everything you need to know in order to create one of these TikToks or YouTube shorts. Alright, so once you've opened a new project and named it, you should see something like this. Now, today I'll be editing my second Minecraft Cursed PvP video, as you can see in the top left corner, and I'll be showing you how I take footage from a regular video and turn it into a vertical short form video. So the first thing we want to do is click on the Edit tab at the bottom of the screen. Pretty much everything we're doing today will be here in the Edit tab, so don't worry about any of the other tabs if you don't know what they are. They are useful, just not for what we're doing today. Now that we're in the Edit tab, let's make sure your screen looks something like mine. Here in the top right, we have the media pool and the effects library selected. And make sure this little icon looks the same as mine because if you have it on the square icon, you won't be able to open both of them at the same time. So just make sure that looks like this and that you have both of them open and stacked on top of each other like this. On the top right, make sure the inspector is open. And for this one, I like to have it above the timeline so we have more space to work on. So if it looks like this, make sure to just click that little button at the top so it sits on top of the timeline. Now remember, you can also resize these, so if you don't have enough working space, you can always just shrink this to the side. Same, I don't know about the inspector, but you can also shrink this if you need more video space, so just remember that this is all pretty modular and you can just make it look like how you want it to, but just make sure that you have these three things open: the media pool, effects library, and inspector. They are completely necessary for what we are doing. Right, now let's get our footage. Your footage should be regular 1080p or 720p screen recorded from the game. Avoid using a phone to record vertical footage, as we'll be making the screen recorded footage vertical while editing. Right-click the media pool and then select Import Media or press Ctrl I. This should open the File Explorer where you can find your footage and import it into DaVinci Resolve. You can select multiple files at once or import them one at a time, it really doesn't matter. Once you've selected your footage, it will show up in the media pool where we can now use it in our project. If your clip doesn't show up in the media pool like this, click this little box icon up here, or select one of these two on the sides if you'd prefer it to look like that. But assuming yours looks like mine though, if you hover your mouse over the clip or double click it, it will show up in our viewing window right here. Now we can click and drag this video onto the timeline. As you can see in the media pool, timeline 1 has been created. Now don't worry that the video isn't vertical yet. What we'll be doing here is cutting up our source video into short form content before making it vertical. I prefer to do it like this because cutting footage while it being vertical makes things harder to see. Now I'm going to be making my footage into a full length video and a short video, so I'll do that off camera and come back and show you what I've done. Alright, now as you can see, I have my full-length video here, but if we zoom in here on the right, we can see that I've taken the best part of the full video and made it into a 30-second short-form video. As you can see, I've done some cutting with the audio to make sure it's as interesting as possible within that short amount of time that someone might be watching it. Make sure that the length is under a minute if you're making YouTube short, or under 3 minutes for a TikTok. Usually shorter is better. I like to keep mine at 1 minute or less so I can post it to TikTok and YouTube Shorts. Now, a few quick tips for cutting up footage if you haven't watched any tutorials. All the tools that you need for this are in this bar over here. There are 4 specific ones that I use, and they are the only important ones that you need to pay attention to. This magnet is to toggle on snapping, so if you have this turned on, footage will snap to the playhead and to other clips. I turn it on and off frequently depending on if I want precise placement or quick snapping. This chain icon is for toggling linked selection. Now what this means is that when you click a linked clip, which means any clip which has this linked chain icon, it will select all of the clips. And this is useful because then we can take all this and move it as a group, or if we were cutting up footage, we could cut all of them at once. This is useful because all footage you drag in from the media pool will be linked by default. When you deselect it, you can edit any linked piece of video separately from the other linked audio or video. So as you can see, I can select these audio clips separately and change the volumes, whereas I couldn't do that if I had it selected. Again, useful if you want to do audio cuts like I have without messing with everything else, and I actively use both. Finally, there are the mouse and blade icons. These correspond to cutting and moving mode. If you use the blade icon wherever you click on a clip, it will cut it into 2 separate clips, which you can then use the move icon and then take these and move and resize them separately. Exactly how these work are influenced by the linked selection and snapping functions, which might be a bit confusing, but play around with them to cut up your short video how you want it. Okay, so now that you have your short video cut up and ready, it's time to make it vertical and add the real editing magic. Head over to the media pool and right click and go to the timeline options. Here you want to click create new timeline, which should open this box over here. Now you can name this TikTok or YouTube Shorts depending on what you want to make, but I don't bother naming it because I'm lazy. But then what you really want to do is go to this setting over here where it says use project settings. You want to uncheck this box, and this will give us a few more options which we need to make the timeline vertical. So if we click format, we can see these options where we want to change the resolution over here to 1080 by 1920. And this is the default HD vertical resolution that most streaming services use, so I would just recommend using that. And the only other thing that you need to change in the entirety of this create new timeline options thing is under mismatched resolution. You need to make sure it's on scale entire image to fit, which is this one. It should be set to that by default, but just check it just in case. And then once you've done all that and everything's correct, click create. And just keep in mind, if you ever make something wrong, you can always go back to it, and then under timelines, you can use timeline settings to bring up this menu again, and you can change things to like I said before if you missed something. So don't worry if you get it wrong. But once you have that done, it should show up in your media pool under timeline 2 or whatever you named it. Now obviously there's going to be nothing in this timeline, and we need to go and grab the footage from the timeline we did our cutting in. To do this, we go to timeline 1 and double click it to go back to it. Here we can select our short form content by clicking and dragging and pressing Ctrl C to copy it. Then we go back to our media pool, double click timeline 2, which will bring us back to our vertical timeline. Now to paste it, you need to make sure you just click somewhere in the audio or visual timeline. If you haven't clicked it, or if you've clicked in the media pool for some reason it just won't copy, so make sure you click somewhere over here on the timeline and then press Ctrl V, and that should paste your short form content into this vertical timeline. Now as you can see, our footage is tiny and we still need to make it look how I promised. Now I could just select the clip, go to video, and just zoom it in until it takes up the entire screen, but then you can't really see anything to the sides and it just doesn't look very good. So let's just put this back to 1 and I'll show you how I make my shorts. Well, a while ago I found this incredible free effect that you can download from a guy named Patrick Stirling. This man is one of the best users of DaVinci Resolve effects, and he made an effect that you can download for free and use to make shorts and TikToks super easily. I'll link his video in the description, and there should be a card on the screen now that you can click. head over there and download it. You should get a DRFX file that you double click and it should automatically install into DaVinci Resolve. Just follow the instructions that you get prompted once you double click it, or you can check out Patrick Stirling's tutorial. I'm pretty sure he's got one on how to install them somewhere on his channel. Once you have that downloaded, I'm going to show you how I use it. So making sure we're in our vertical timeline, go to the effect library over here, and then click on effects. Provided you installed it correctly, if you scroll down, you should see SSC TikTok. As you can see, it's not actually the only drag and drop preset I have from Patrick Stirling. He's an amazing creator and you should definitely go subscribe to him. Even the subscribe pop-up you see on screen now was made by him. So if you're into free, high-quality video editing tricks, he's a great recommendation. The other effect I have is a stinger transition, which you would have seen in my intro. So yeah, I really want to thank Patrick Stirling for this, as I wouldn't be making this video without his work, so definitely go check him out, and if you want tutorials on how I made my intro, let me know in the comments. Anyway, we're going to click and drag the SSC TikTok preset onto one of our video clips like this. Now, it's likely you have multiple video clips, but don't worry, as we only need to fine-tune it on one clip, then we can copy it over to the other clips. Now, as you can see, it's looking pretty good just straight off the bat, but there's still some stuff we need to do. Firstly, you'll notice that if you try and play this back, it might be super laggy. To fix this, we can right-click the clip, then go to Render Cache Fusion Effect Filter, and then check SSC TikTok. The other thing we need to do is go up to the Playback tab, go to Render Cache, and then switch it to Smart. You should see a little red bar appear above the clip that you have the effect on, which will over time turn blue. Now this might take a while, but once it is blue, the playback should be super smooth. I usually don't bother to do this as my laptop is decently powerful and I don't mind having some choppy playback as we already cut the clips beforehand, so we know it should be pretty good as far as clip timing goes. Now if we click on the clip that we're editing and then go to the Effects tab, on the top under the inspector we have this where we can edit the settings, we can turn it on and off, and we can also fine-tune all of the individual settings. For the sake of time, I won't go over every setting. You can watch Patrick Stirling's video or work it out on your own. It's pretty simple to do as this is a really good preset. I'm just going to give a few pointers for how I use it. And firstly, as you can see, it has this small box at the top of the screen. Now this is intended for if you have a webcam and you want your face to be framed nicely in the short video. And I don't use a face cam, but if I used a hand or a face cam, I'd definitely be using this feature. I sometimes use it to show the keystrokes, but generally I find it's unnecessary, so you can turn it off by dragging the camera size slider all the way down to 0. Now we can see our footage clearly, and I find the default frame size is perfect for Minecraft, but if you want to change that, you can drag the footage size slider to fine-tune it however you want. It should look pretty good no matter what, as the screen is completely filled with the blurred background copy that the effect makes. Like I said though, I want to keep this short as I'm pretty sure this is becoming a fairly long video, so if you want to fine tune it more, play around with it, or go check out Patrick Stirling's video like I mentioned before. Like I said, link in the description if you haven't gone and checked it out already. Now that we've finished making our effect, let's copy it to other clips. To do this, select the clip that you applied the effect to and press Ctrl C to copy it. Now select one of your other clips that you want to copy it to, right click it, then go up to the top where it says Paste Attributes. Now you want to click this or follow the short key that was listed. I think it was Alt V. I usually don't use it just because I want to make sure I get it right. And what you want to do is uncheck everything. So if it's all checked, you want to uncheck everything. And then what you want to do is go and check the Fusion Effects box. Now this will make sure that the effect, which is a DaVinci Resolve Fusion effect, that's what the Fusion tab is. The Fusion tab allows us to make these things. And so if we have the Fusion effect ticked, it should copy that over. Now, if you changed scaling or position in the video tab of the inspector, you might want to check these boxes as well. However, I didn't cover that in the tutorial, so I'm assuming you haven't. Finally, just hit apply and the clip should have the effect copied over to it. You might need to tell it to render cache again as it won't have this checked by default, but like I said, I really don't think it's that necessary. Now you're going to go ahead and copy that effect over to the rest of the clips in your short video if you have any, and once you've done that, your short video is pretty much finished. Of course, you can also add some final touches, like I like to add text to mine, or sometimes a subscribe button somewhere in the video to remind viewers, like you, to subscribe to my channel. I use another one of Patrick Stirling's presets for this, like I mentioned before, but I'm not going to be covering that in this tutorial. Just play around with the different text presets and make your own video special and unique to you. You could also add subtitles, which is a little more complicated, but again, let me know if you'd like a tutorial on how I create them in DaVinci Resolve. Alright, so now you're done editing your short video, it's time to export it. For this, we'll go over to the Deliver tab. Here, make sure your short video is fully highlighted on the Deliver tab's timeline, and then we can go over to this right tab where we can change a few things. So over here we can change the file name of the export video, the exported video, sorry, and we can also change where it exports to. We can also change the format. So usually I change mine to MP4, but you can have it on any format you want, but I believe MP4 is the best file type for uploading to TikTok and YouTube. And then after that, we need to go to the resolution and make sure that this custom resolution is 1080 by 1920, which is what we set it to at the beginning. If it's not that, change it so it exports in the right resolution. If it exports the wrong resolution, you're going to have to go back and export it again, and it's a bit annoying. And the other thing that we need to change is under the audio setting, and just make sure that that is checked, because if it's unchecked, it will export without audio, and then again, I've had it happen before where I've exported it without audio. I'm not too sure why it happened because it should be turned on by default. Same with the resolution, it should be all correct by default, but occasionally things go wrong and it changes it. So just make sure it is correct so you don't have to export it multiple times. And then once this is all done and how you want it, click Add to Render Queue. And if you've already got a file, I actually tried exporting this before and it didn't work because I didn't change these things. Just replace, but it should just add to the render queue all fine. And yeah, once it's here, just click render all. And then you're finished. Just wait a little while for it to export. It might take a while as the effect that we put on our video is pretty heavy, so it might take a little longer than you might expect, but it should export just fine. And so yeah, we'll wait for that to finish and then we'll finish up the video. Alright, our video is now exported. Now make sure you check the final result once it's done to ensure it exported properly. Then your video is ready for uploading to TikTok or YouTube or both. With all that finished though, thank you for watching and I really hope this was helpful. Like I said, this is my first time making an editing tutorial, so if you'd like more or if you have any questions or requests, let me know in the comment section and I'll try and help you out. I'd also really appreciate it if you subscribed to the channel and checked out my other Minecraft content. You can get an idea of some of the videos I create in DaVinci Resolve, and if you'd like to know how I made them, I'd be happy to make more tutorials if you guys want it. With that said, that's all I have for this video. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Oh, and also don't forget to constantly spam Control S on your project, because DaVinci Resolve crashes pretty often, so yeah, don't forget that. Anyway, bye!